Welcome to That Pedal Show. Mick here, hello, and welcome to B-Day. Welcome to B-Day, Bigsby Day. Yes, by the end of this show, my 1965 Gibson ES-345 TDS will have this Bigsby B7 vibrato replacing its original trapeze tailpiece. I'm going to be documenting the fitting process and also play some sound examples, both plugged in and acoustic, so you can hear the tonal effects before and after. Regular viewers may have already watched the previous video I did changing the guitar's electronics, removing the old original stereo Varitone, which, well, the story's told in that video, turned out to be a great success. In my opinion, the guitar sounds much better as a result. So I'm hoping to have similarly positive results today with this Bigsby. I covered this guitar's story in that previous video as well, how I ended up with it. Basically, fate intervened. Lined up three awesome humans, that was Rob Francis, Dan Coggins and Thorpe, and kind of bounced the guitar down the universe to me, and I'm very grateful. It was about 2 years ago now, which seems impossible. Where does the time go? I should also mention Noel Gallagher and Johnny Marr, honk honk. Dan and I were lucky enough to have them as guests on That Pedal Show, and we were lucky enough to go to their studios to record shows with them. At Noel's studio, we played Noel's 59, I think it is, ES-345, gold hardware, Bigsby, just awesome. Same thing at Johnny's, he has a similar guitar. In fact, I think it was Johnny that inspired Noel to buy his. Just beautiful late 50s, Gibson, cherry red, gold hardware, Bigsby, just... Well, that was it. I was done. Hook, line and sinker. Of course, I can't afford that kind of guitar. They are crazy money now. Plus, I've always loved the 345 with the dual parallelogram inlays. And I thought maybe flashy Gibson ES guitar with gold hardware could be in my future. I will also just say that my favourite Gibson thin line tones in the music that I like has come from guitars and players with either a stop tail or a Bigsby tailpiece, and in some cases maestro vibrato as well. But, you know, that might be the greats, B.B. King, Freddie King, coming forward to Clapton and Cream, and just so many people down the years, Eric Johnson, Larry Carlton and Robin Ford, of course. Just so many people have used those guitars. Lee Ritenour, Alex Lifeson, oh God, the list continues, into sort of 80s pop with the Smiths, and loads of other 80s bands. You just watch Top of the Pops through the 80s, or whatever the equivalent was in the US. And then into the 90s with the Britpop, you know, like Noel, Bernard Butler. Just the guitar has been ubiquitous through the ages. Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl. They're everywhere in music, in all kinds of music, but to the point. Very rarely with a trapeze, usually always with a Bigsby or a stop tail. And I guess that's the point. So for me, the trapeze tailpiece is much more a casino ES-175, ES-275 thing, although all those guitars are cool with Bigsby's as well. Maybe a step towards jazz guitar territory. So the envelope of the note is different. Maybe you get a little more low mids, you get more resonance off that extra string length. We'll get into discussing all that as the video goes on. The point is, Bigsby, rock and roll, I want one. Plus, you get the wobble. That's the interesting thing. I'm not really putting it on there because I'm desperate for a vibrato unit. I'm putting it on there, A, because it looks cool, and B, because I think it will just rock up the guitar to a very small amount, like one step towards a rock guitar. It's not a gem, it's not a Jackson soloist, I'm not looking for that, but I think I've made the point enough. I am a little bit trepidatious about what it's going to do to the guitar, less so in terms of the surgery itself. It's minimally invasive, as you'll see. And touch wood, pretty simple, we'll see. And so I'm not so worried about that. What I don't want is lose anything from the guitar. The guitar is so cool. It's so harmonically rich. It is such a beautiful sounding guitar. But as I said before, if it takes a step away from like lower mids, bit more bloat, slower note envelope to higher mids, bit more attack, bit more direct as a result of the Bigsby, I will not be sorry. If it goes the other way, not so good. So that's the risk we take. But history tells us this guitar in this configuration works really well. You've heard it everywhere. Okay, let's go. Actually, before we go, I will just make a quick point. What I've done is I've changed the strings on the guitar and I've played it for about 20 minutes. And all the sound samples you're about to hear I'll do that for the pre-Bigsby and the post-Bigsby. So you'll be hearing a fresh set of strings with about 20 minutes playtime on them before I start playing. So we want to keep the string wear about the same. Obviously, it's our Stringjoy TPSM signature Stringjoy strings, which are, of course, available from that pedal show store. 10.5 to 48 gauges, and we'll stick those on. So the only thing you'll hear change is the guitar with the Bigsby and without. I'm going to use a really simple rig: guitar, overdrive pedal, amp. You'll hear clean sounds, you'll hear mid-gain sounds, and you'll hear, for me, a slightly higher gain sound. And you'll also hear the guitar mic'd up just acoustically, because I really want to hear what's resonating off that extra bit towards the back there. Finally, I have been playing this guitar a great deal over the last couple of weeks, been trying to play it a little bit every day so that it just seeps in and it becomes something that I'm so very familiar with that once we make the change, I should be able to react to what has changed fairly immediately. Goodness me. I guess the next thing you're going to see is me fitting the Bigsby, because we won't have the sound samples until after it's done. Oh, maybe we'll just tease you with the sound samples. Righty-ho, I've just recorded the pre-sound samples. Seems very sad to lose these strings, but it's at this point I say something stupid like, shouldn't be that hard, should it? Okay, this will give us an idea of what we're going to be dealing with. How cool is that? I want to say an extra special thanks to my new friend Gerhard Schwarz from Schwarz Custom Guitars. He makes lovely hardware called St. Helens. Really spectacular stuff. Had a lovely phone conversation with Gerhard, and we'll talk about him a bit more later, but my goodness me, what he doesn't know about Gibson hardware is literally not worth knowing. Anyway, he sourced this Bigsby for me, and he also gave me some tips about fitting it, which I was very grateful for, and I'll share with you when I do it. Now, if you look at what's happening here, right? So the trapeze tailpiece is holding the strings in place, anchoring them from the end pin there. That's the same as this. And I did have a couple of cold nights waking up going, well, what about string spacing and all of that? But of course, that's all taken care of by the Tune-o-matic. That's not changing at all. Another tidbit that Gerhard shared with me was that nylon saddles were there because in the early 60s, a lot of Gibson guitars had the Maestro vibratos, and it's super slippy. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this off, and then what will need to happen. So there's me worrying about string alignment and stuff. And if you look at this, I mean, it's all over the place, isn't it? It's not even nearly straight. So I'm not too worried about the Bigsby. But we'll get to that in a minute. So 2 holes, one there, one there. So if the trapeze ever needs to go back on, this one will be covered up anyway. So that'll be the only visible scar. It's not too bad. At least it's never been fitted with a stop tail, which would, be 2 blooming great holes in the guitar there, which is why sometimes you see a big thing across there saying custom. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Right. Oh yeah, one last thing to consider. When I wired this up, I think I'm right in saying that there is a ground, an earth wire that goes back to the end of here in order that when you touch the strings, obviously everything is earthed. So I need to make sure I don't lose that and make sure that it is in connection with the Bigsby. Otherwise there will be copious bad words, many, many bad words. Strings off. I found that piece of felt under there the first time I restrung it. I love the way it says electronics under there. I wonder if Dan's got anything to do with that, Dan Coggins. So what we're chiefly interested in now, of course, is this area, because we're going to unscrew this and take off the tailpiece, trying to find that original earth wire. Ah, well, that's good. So problem number one, the screw is snapped off. Okay, problem number one, the screw is sheared off. So hopefully I can get some pliers on that and twist it manually. Hopefully that will work. These ones, the screws have been rounded off, so I need to just give that a bit more care, which I can't do with the camera pointing at it, so we'll just pause there. I don't want to do too much of this because the angle is a bit compromised, but just grip the edge of the screws and turn them gently out so they come out, okay? So okay, so they've come out using a bit of pliers. The main strap end pin has sheared off again. So what I'm sort of semi-hoping is that if we place this carefully on there, should put something on the guitar really, but if we're just very careful for a second, put that on there. Stay. So I'm pretty sure I can sight that end pin in a slightly different position, meaning I don't have to drill out the old screw for the old end pin, which is great. That is good news. So that's interesting, isn't it? Look at that. It's not fouling it, but it's right right there. God, mummy. Okay, again, I'm gonna have to come back in a minute because I need to be able to see this. Righto, first and foremost, how flaming cool does that look? Two, helpfully, somebody had already put a centre line down through the back of the guitar where the end pin is, so I knew where it was dead centre and I measured it just to make sure it wasn't off. The top two holes for the old trapeze almost, but not quite, perfectly match where they should be for the Bigsby, which is kind of annoying. So what I've elected to do instead is I put two new holes down here and put these two new screws in, and I haven't done them up tight yet. But what that at least does is it gets the end plate on there and the Bigsby in the correct position in terms of this end plate. There's actually quite a lot of latitude here, look. So it's a bit, it's farmyard machinery basically. But what that means is that I've got it basically located. There's a big ding on the guitar here and there's all kinds of mess going on here. So I'm really not that worried about having drilled new holes because it's a flaming dog's dinner down here anyway. So that's fine. So the next job is, I think what we'll do next is attach some strings loosely, obviously, and get the locator holes for the two holes in the top of the guitar. And then obviously the end pin will have to go back in, that's no problem. And I will decide whether to put these other two screws in or not. Gerhard told me that they don't actually need to be there, so it might be that I leave them out because the holes are just so close to the holes that were there previously and I can't be arsed with filling and re-drilling. So I'll make that decision at the end. So for now, we'll try and get it positioned longitudinally, so to speak. So let's get back underneath the main camera here. You got to say, it does look pretty cool, doesn't it? It does look pretty damn cool. Gerhard, I don't know if he aged it himself or if he just found it, but it's in lovely, lovely. It just matches the rest of the gold hardware perfectly. And as you can see, I've lost the wire from the bridge. More on that another day. Gerhard also makes the most amazing tunematics. So maybe we'll replace that in due course, but not right now. Okay, so we'll put a couple of strings on. Is this wise? Yeah, I guess it is. There's no other way to do it, is there? I've also got some very low tack masking tape, which it may be prudent to put on at this point. Should test a bit of it actually. Take some of the tack off it. This is just so that when you drill the hole, you don't make a mess of the top. But to be honestly, this guitar has got such rich patina on it. It's not the end of the world, whatever happens, really. I'm really hoping that is. It says super low tack masking tape, so I'm hoping it's not going to take any of the finish off. That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Take the masking tape off and off comes a load of finish with it. The joys of stringing a Bigsby. I remember. Right, how does this work then? So you've got to go under there, over there. Obviously I'm not going to put full tension on this, it's just to get the alignment. I mean, I feel semi-confident I can see by eye, but as always... Oh yes. Oh come on. Honestly, really? Because I can't put too much tension on it, so all you Bigsby people will be screaming loads of helpful hints at this point. How on earth do you do this? You. I am just having the most hilarious spatial awareness fails trying to do this with one hand and not put too much pressure on the guitar, not try and damage the finish any more than it already is. You know, just properly hilarious comedy. Obviously it won't be this hard when the thing's actually attached because it'll be attached so you can manhandle it a bit more, but I'm just trying not to put any pressure on the vibrato unit itself. So I was going to put 4 strings on, but you know, sod that. So by my reckoning, those strings are on there. And actually, if I come, I'm at this end of the guitar. If I sight down there, the strings are sort of pulling it straight anyway. So it feels like that's where it wants to be. Just sight it from above. Just sight it from above. I'll look at my screen there because I've got a screen over here, which you can see. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know if it's the angle of the camera or what, but it does look a bit north. The whole thing looks a bit north. The tailpiece is bang on. The tailpiece is bang on central, but it does look ever so slightly north. I wonder if the low E string is pulling a bit higher. So one interesting thing is, you're assuming it's machined straight and everything on it is straight, which is not necessarily the case. And if I were to measure, for example, from the pole piece to there, the pickup's in straight. Sometimes what you need is a straight edge. I mean, the string should be doing it, but I'm going to put it there. If anyone is screaming no, I'm putting it there. now comes the really scary part, because obviously we're going to drill. Now, Gerhardt, bless him, has given me these aged screws. He's even aged the top of them, look at that. Oh, you might not be able to see, but anyway, he's aged the top of them, and they're the correct screws to go in here to hold the Bigsby down. So I just need to measure the depth on the drill. Anyway, here's one I measured earlier. I want to say thank you to Philip Starclough. Thanks, Philip. Philip came to see us just recently, and he's like, Mick, he's also German, by the way. Mick, please, please, please use masking tape before you drill that guitar. Now, of course, it's also important that these holes are perpendicular. So you would ideally do this on a bench drill that you know is going to go completely straight down. But, you know, in for a penny. So we'll just... try and sight that from a couple of directions. It's only an old guitar, isn't it? God. That one didn't feel like it was going into much, to be fair. So just carefully remove this. What's nice about this one is if the trapeze ever needs to go back on there, it's underneath. So the only battle scar is this one, which somebody really clever could fill. Okay, Bigsby. Seems kind of crazy, but you do have a metal on wood situation with a Bigsby. By the way, this one's from the 70s apparently, and there's a big difference between the American-made ones and the modern Korean ones. Up until the 70s and 80s, I think, Gerhard was telling me they're exactly the same as they were in the 50s. But you've got this little felt pad on there, I guess. I don't know what that's for, but he put it on there. So we line it up, and nothing else sits between the guitar and the Bigsby. Now, here's the information I'm going to share with you, which Gerhard shared with me. What's apparently very important once we put these screws in is that the arm is able to move freely, and that this bar is able to spin. If this doesn't happen and there's tension, right, and it won't fall, what that means is, and that this doesn't spin, it means that the thing is twisted. And if it's twisted, it'll never work properly. So the goal now is to get the correct tension on these screws here so that we're not, so that this can still move freely. And if this can move freely, by all accounts, the Bigsby can function properly. So let's see. Oh, mummy. It is. There didn't feel like there was much underneath here, so we don't need to put these down super tight, I don't think. We'll just put them in. If you're wondering, my goodness me, he's very nonchalant about an old guitar. Well, there's no other way to be, I don't think. Look, how's that looking? Don't, same as anything, you don't need to screw anything down Thor tight, because you just don't need to. So, I am bloody well hoping that's it. Obviously, I've got this end bit to think about, whether I'm going to put those other two screws in and just attaching the end pin, which I'll do in a minute. But I don't mind admitting I've got a bit of a bead on. But how cool does that look? Why didn't you use a Vibramate, you idiot? Because I don't want a Vibramate. I want it to be proper and old and original spec. So there you go. I'm sure they're brilliant and I know people love them, but I just want the original thing. I want it to be like it would have been. Well, strings then, innit? The other thing that Gerhard said, he said I don't know if it's a Vibramate or a Duesenberg, do a different spring, which apparently is much better than the standard spring. So I might get one of those in due time, but oh my God, I can't believe this is actually happening. Right, stringing. I'm just sending a photo, I've just taken a picture and I'm going to send it to Dan. Oh man, it looks so damn cool. I guess the good people of the world will be split into three camps. Camp 1, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing that, what an idiot. Camp 2, what the hell are you worrying about? It's easy. Camp 3, oh my God, you should be doing that better. JFDI, innit? JFDI. Right. Am I going to try and do this in the way that I did it before, or shall I make it easier on myself? No, it seemed to sort of semi-work. You total hateful, 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 hateful job. Well, there we are. The first string is on. I'm going to pause and come back when it's done because I just need to move the guitar to get it strung. Ah! Well then. So I started this about 11 o'clock this morning, and the actual Bigsby bit has taken about an hour and a half, I suppose. Just checking and double checking. Filming it and recording the extra playing bits, which I'm just about to go to finish doing now, is what takes all the time. I can't promise that it's purely straight, and if you look at the overhead camera you'll say it's not straight, it's not straight, it's not straight. The overhead camera isn't straight, and also the Tune-o-matic just throws you off. But anyway, whatever. I did genuinely just get a text from Matt Gleason saying, oh mate, but it can't be straight. None of the original ones were, and a bit of on the wonk is what you need for vintage character. And I'm like, okay, I feel better. It looks utterly amazing. It doesn't look so good in the overhead camera because of the flare, but oh my God, check this out. I mean, it's just awesome. And if we give it a quick strum. So I'm going to play it in. I'm going to play it for 20 minutes, like I said. Then I'm going to go back and do all those sound samples again, and we'll see where we get to. Ooh, might have a glass of wine tonight. Wow, it's definitely different. It's definitely got more bite, it's definitely got more attack, and it's definitely driving the overdrive and the amp harder. I think that's what I'm hearing. It's been a long day. I'm going to listen back to the audio and reflect back, and then hopefully maybe set up my proper rig and do some more playing. But we'll see how we get on. Whoa, flipping heck. I think it's got more aggressive. Am I sad? Time will tell. It's been a couple of weeks. I think what's happened is I do think the bloat has gone a little bit, lost a little bit of bloat, gained a bit of bite. Now there's all sorts of biases going on in my brain. I want it to sound better, so I think it does, but I think it does. At the very least, it certainly doesn't sound any worse. I've been playing it a lot the last couple of weeks. It's done an experience day. In fact, it might even have done 2 experience days. And I had a full band rehearsal, used it in some shows, and just kind of lived with it. And the net result is I don't want to put it down. I want to keep playing it. And I think regardless of any, you know, numbers or whatever we could put on the comparison, you know, is it more this, is it less that? The fact is I just want to play the guitar. So I would count that as a win. What we haven't discussed really much at all is the actual action of the Bigsby itself. I think I might have said somewhere during the video so far that it's only partially on there for the vibrato action, right? It's also on there because I wanted the core tone of the guitar to change minutely, but also it looks damn cool, and I'm not scared to admit that. By the way, if the rig looks a little gauche today, A, welcome to that pedal show. B, it's what I put up for experience days on my side, so the people who come can really experience something. So I thought, why not? Let's plug it up today. And yeah, my pedal board 2, complete with Hughes and Kettner Rotosphere. I know it's crazy town, but as I said, welcome to that pedal show. Yeah, so it works great. It goes out of tune a little bit. Look, I'll give it a good wanging so you can see, right? Nothing very musical there, but it's actually not too bad, as you can hear. I gave that quite the old wang, and it's not too bad at all. And I think that's partly as a result of being careful about the install. Also, as many of you have asked, this guitar does have nylon saddles and they are a bit slippier. However, I have lost the retaining wire off the bridge, and so the saddles move around, which is a nightmare. So we'll deal with that another day. Plenty of graphite and whatever in the nut, bit of Monty's general purpose stuff that you clean the fingerboard with. Put some of that in there. Trev Wilkinson gave me a tube of this awesome stuff once that looks like a lip salve kind of thing. That works great too. So plenty of that, and actually it's not too bad at all. Now then, there are people that say the standard Bigsby spring is a little bit lacking, and as such Reverend makes a replacement. And I don't know if this is what this is, but Gordon Rankin, thank you so much Gordon, has sent me a couple of springs to try, because apparently the common complaint is with the standard Bigsby spring, the arm sits a little flat, and if you put a different spring in there, it can sit up a bit more so it's easier to handle. I don't actually mind it where it is, but I'm going to try it anyway, and we'll see if it makes any difference, and I'll reflect on that. I'll do a couple sounds, I'll swap the spring over. So you've heard some clean sounds. I haven't tuned the guitar since I was wanging it, by the way. So it is about, I want to say, about 2 centimetres, an inch, or just under an inch in old money, higher than it was before. And actually that does make it easier to grab with a new spring. So I've just completely detuned the guitar and retuned it. So if it stays in tune, it will be a miracle. Actually, it's a little harder to hold in the hand if you want to play and hold. So predictably, somewhere between the two would be optimum for me. It's also, because the spring is a bit stiffer, I guess, the tremolo action is more, you don't have to push it so hard to get a result. And the vibrato action, should I say. I kind of like it. I like the action better, but the position is just a touch too high, so maybe there's a halfway house. The other thing I just want to check, one of the things about Bigsby is when you fold the arm back, it can sit in the case, and actually that improves that because this is lower, so that's even better. Great. I don't suppose it will make any difference to the sound. I rather suspect a lot of ES-345 fans out there of the blues tradition will be going, please don't use that much gain, but I like it. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I think it sounds better. I think the Bigsby has definitely lost some bloat, and I think it's added some bite. The guitar still has a really, really, really good mid-range honk. And like most ES guitars, it still has a tremendous amount of low end. So sculpt as you wish. I'm really happy. I'm going to call that a success. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please buy merch from that Pedal Show store. That's how we fund this show. And yeah, be back. I'm not going to do anything else to this guitar now, maybe except try some steel saddles. But it is spectacularly good, even if I say so myself. Yeah, see you soon.